Ladies and gentlemen, critter enthusiasts and eco enthusiasts, welcome to another episode of Eric Likes Animals. I'm your ever excited host, Eric Mahan. And today we're going to be diving into the wild world of environmental news and the creatures that make our planet their home. Whether you're a first time explorer or a seasoned listener, I'm thrilled to have you along for the journey. So before we start up, first, hey, the podcast is officially 2 years. So, yay. Thank you for listening. If you've been with me from the beginning, if not, hey, you got 2 years of content you can backtrack on. And with all that, I'll be taking the month of March off. So, no new episodes for the month of March, but when I'll be back in April, that will start season 3. But first, why don't we finish off this season? And let's buckle up for some environmental news. First up from Live Science, mind-blowing deep sea expedition uncovers more than 100 new species and a gigantic underwater mountain. A recent deep sea expedition conducted off the coast of Chile has unveiled a remarkable array of scientific discoveries. Among these findings are over 100 marine species previously unknown to science, alongside several never before seen underwater mountains, the largest of which dwarfs the world's tallest skyscraper by a factor of 4. Captivating photographs and video footage from the expedition reveals a diverse assortment of deep sea creatures, including sponges, spinal corals, and intriguing lobsters with beady eyes. Also, a peculiar cluster of oblong sea urchins and a vibrant sea toad equipped with fins resembling hands. So, from January 8th to February 11th, scientists aboard the Schmidt Ocean Institute, or SOI, research vessel Falcor embarked on the sea mounts of the Southeast Pacific expedition, focusing on underwater mountain ranges or seamounts across 3 primary regions in total. They meticulously mapped approximately 20,400 square miles, or about 52,800 square kilometers of ocean floor. These newly created detail maps unveiled 4 previously undiscovered solitary seamounts, the largest of which, named Soloto, Spanish for alone, towers about 11,581 feet or 3,530 meters above the seabed, surpassing the height of the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building, by over 4 times. Sorry, I probably screwed up those names. Moving on. Using underwater robotics, the team explored the submerged slopes of the 10 seamounts with the study area, uncovering over 100 species believed to be new to science, including, like I said, corals, sponges, sea urchins, mollusks, and crustaceans. Marine biologists at the Catholic University of North Chile and the expedition's lead scientists expressed astonishment at the abundance of new discoveries, particularly in groups like the sponges, stating, "We far exceeded our hopes on this expedition." Samples of these newfound creatures have been collected for further analysis to confirm the status of these new species. Researchers emphasize the vulnerability of many of these species, residing in habitats such as cold water corals and sponge gardens, which are at risk from activities like trawling and deep sea mining. The significance of identifying and studying these towering biological hotspots lies in the potential to deepen our understanding of life on Earth. These discoveries underscore the importance of preserving and studying these deep sea ecosystems, which remain unexplored and under threat from human activities. The researchers emphasize the urgent need for conservation effort to protect these vulnerable habitats from potential harm. The expedition's findings have opened up the new avenue of scientific research and conservation initiatives. Understanding the biodiversity of these remote and poorly explored areas can provide valuable insights into the functioning of marine ecosystems and help guide sustainable management practices. The research team's effort to document and study these previously unknown species represent a significant contribution to our understanding of marine biodiversity. Each new discovery holds the potential to shed light on the intricate relationships between organisms and their environment, contributing to global efforts to conserve and protect marine life. Moving forward, the researchers plan to conduct further studies to unravel the mysteries of these deep sea ecosystems and to, of course, ensure the long survival. By raising awareness about the importance of preserving these biological hotspots, they hope to inspire action and collaboration among scientists, policymakers, and conservationists to safeguard these fragile ecosystems of the deep sea. In summary, the deep sea expedition of the coast of Chile has not only revealed a treasure trove of scientific wonders, but also highlighted the critical importance of protecting and conserving these fragile ecosystems for future generations. Up next, still from Live Science, why is a mushroom growing on a frog? Scientists don't know, but it sure looks weird. In a peculiar and unprecedented occurrence, a live frog in India was discovered with a mushroom sprouting from its skin, leaving scientists a little baffled. The frog, identified as Raoul's intermediate golden backed frog, was observed among 40 other individuals of the same species perched on a twig with a white stalk and a gray cap protruding from its left flank. The discovery took place during an expedition in India where teams stumbled upon the frog while searching for reptiles and amphibians. Upon sharing photos of the frog, mycologists suggest that the mushroom could belong to the genus Messina. However, the group refrained from collecting the frog, and it remains uncertain whether the fungus grew internally or externally on the frog's skin. Some mycologists speculate that the amphibian may have acquired the fungus due to an infection or wound, which provided a conductive environment for the fungus to adhere to. Christopher Boog Harder, a researcher from the University of Copenhagen's Department of Biology who is not involved in the study, commented to Forbes, "I would guess that this is purely superficial skin infection with a mycelium. Those can be sustained over a long time, the same as most fungal skin infections in humans. Remarkably, the fungus did not appear to be detrimental to the frog's health, and the frog exhibited no other visual injuries. This incident isn't the first instance of amphibians encountering fungi. Previous studies have highlighted the vulnerability of many amphibians to a pathogenic fungus known as chytrid, a deadly skin disease, which has led to mass die-offs of amphibians worldwide. Given this context, scientists are concerned on whether this newfound fungal infection could pose a threat to amphibians. Species within the genus Mycena, often referred to as bonnet mushrooms, typically thrive on nutrients derived from dead or decaying organic matter and are commonly found growing in clusters on decaying wood. Mushrooms typically flourish in nutrient-rich environments from fungal spores, which germinate into thin branching filaments. Mushrooms develop provided sufficient nutrients are available. While most Mycena species are associated with dead materials, a study published in 2023 did document growth of Mycena species on live plants. And then finally, from The Guardian, butterfly genomes have barely changed for over 250 million years, study reveals. A recent study published in the journal Nature, Ecology, and Evolution reveals that the genomes of butterflies and moths have remained remarkably stable for over 250 million years, despite their extraordinary species diversity. This stability, researchers suggest, often insights how butterflies and moths have endured and adapted through significant environmental changes in Earth's history. Scientists from the Wellcome Sanger Institute and the University of Edinburgh conducted an analysis of over 200 genomes encompassing the complete genetic information for the development and maintenance of organisms to delve into the evolutionary history of butterflies and moths. By tracing the genetic code back to the earliest butterflies, they identified 32 ancestral chromosomes that serve as the fundamental elements of most butterflies or moths. Professor Mark Blackster, the senior author of the study and head of the Tree of Life program at the Wellcome Sanger Institute, remarked on the significance of DNA in connecting all life forms and enabling the exploration of deep evolutionary history. He noted the remarkable stability observed in butterfly genomes contrasting with their vast species diversity. Lepidoptera stands out as one of the most diverse animal groups, representing approximately 10% of Earth's living organisms. While most moth and butterfly species possess 31 chromosomes, the scientists discovered a rare subset, including the chalk hill blue butterfly, that deviates from the norm with 90 chromosomes. This genetic anomaly challenges conventional understanding and prompts broader inquiries into the evolutionary mechanisms driving biodiversity. Charlotte Wright, the study's first author and PhD student at the Wellcome Sanger Institute, highlighted the broader aim of understanding biodiversity, evolution, and identifying key genetic features underlining the success of moths and butterflies. In the face of escalating biodiversity loss, including alarming declines in insect populations and critical pollinators, the research underscores the importance of different butterflies and moths' ecosystem health. They emphasize that a comprehensive understanding of butterfly and moth biology is pivotal for informing conservation strategies amidst ongoing global crisis of biodiversity loss. Blackster likened the completion of butterfly genomes to solving a complex puzzle, highlighting its significance as a milestone in genetic research. He emphasized that the availability of complete genome sequences provided invaluable insights into species biology, facilitating future studies on adaptation and biodiversity conservation. The completion of butterfly genome represents a significant advancement akin to solving a complex puzzle, unlike the human genome, which was initially fragmented until its release in 2010. The butterfly genomes offer a comprehensive view with all pieces in place. The comprehensive genetic understanding opens doors to a deeper exploration of species biology and evolutionary dynamics. The researchers stressed the urgent need to leverage this newfound knowledge to inform conservation efforts and address the alarming decline in global biodiversity. Insect species, including butterflies, serve as crucial indicators of ecosystem health. Understanding their biology and genetic makeup enables scientists to monitor ecosystem changes and devise targeted conservation strategies. Moreover, the study findings shed light on broader questions surrounding biodiversity and evolution and factors contributing to the success of certain species groups. By unraveling the genetic underpinning of moths and butterflies, researchers gain valuable insight into mechanisms driving species diversity and adaptation. Looking ahead, further research on butterfly and moth genomes promise to yield even deeper insights into the intricate interplaying between genetics, environment, and adaptation. By delving into the genetic blueprints of these fascinating insects, scientists can unlock new avenues of biodiversity, conservation, and environmental stewardship in the face of unprecedented global challenges. And that's your environmental news. So, for the final creature feature of season 2, we are going to be talking about an amazing amphibian that lives in a pretty remarkable place that many could not survive. Meaning, of course, it is very weird looking. And this weird, amazing amphibian is none other than the Olm. Now, meeting the Olm, the rock star of the underground world. This little buddy, scientifically known as Protus anagenus, is not your average salamander. The Olm is also known as Protus, cave salamander, and white salamander. And at even one point, when people first discovered them, they were even thought to be newborn dragons waiting deep down in the caves. So, these amazing creatures are blind, aquatic marvels belonging to the family that is salamanders. Now, picture this with Olms. They're the VIPs of the subterranean streams in the karst region, along the Adriatic coast, strutting their stuff from northeast Italy all the way down to Montenegro. They're the true cave-dwelling champs, hanging out in coolest underground spots where the sun just don't shine. Now, what makes the Olm really stand out, first off, is that they're European party animals that live solely underground. These guys don't need fancy sunlight or open-air vibes. They're all about the subterranean life. You'll rarely catch the Olms up in Central Europe. They're pretty much the masters of hide and seek and keep to the cool hidden cave waterways, all in that region. Now, the Olm is fairly small in size, only growing to about 30 centimeters or 12 inches long, and weighing only about 0.53 to zero point 0.7 ounces. This amphibian, however, is a true marvel. It is believed to be one of the longest lived amphibians, with individuals capable of surviving for at least 50 years, and remarkably, some studies even suggesting that they can reach or exceed 100 years of age. Now, the olm is a fascinating aquatic cave dweller, as I have mentioned, and has evolved some remarkable adaptations to its underground habitat, as it resides in this dark subterranean world. The olm has undergone significant changes to suit itself well in this unique environment. One of the most striking features of the olm is the lack of skin pigmentation. Spending its entire life in darkness, the olm's skin appears whitish pink and translucent, allowing its internal organs to be visible through its skin or abdomen. The eyes of the olm are vestigial and covered by a layer of skin, reflecting its adaptation to the absence of light. While blind, olms still retain a sensitivity to light, which is believed to aid in their orientation in the dark, aka kind of helping them figure out when they're underneath something if they can't feel it. Unlike many amphibians, olms do not undergo a distinct period of metamorphosis. Instead, they develop directly into adults at about 4 months of age. However, they retain some juvenile characteristics, such as frilly gills and tail fins, throughout their entire life. Despite being blind, olm possess keen senses that enable them to navigate and find prey in their environment. Their heads are equipped with sensitive chemomechano, the electroreceptors, and allowing them to detect changes in their surrounding. Olms also have a powerful sense of smell and hearing, along with the ability to, as I said, detect electrical fields using these specialized organs. Recent studies even suggest that they can detect and orient to magnetic fields, adding to their repertoire of sensory abilities. All, of course, which are to help them find snacks. However, unlike me, they can go a very long time without getting snacks, especially since there's not much down there in these dark caves. Olms have this unique adaptation to their underground life and have developed remarkable strategies for survival, including their ability to endure long periods between meals. Sporting small mouths equipped with tiny teeth, they act like a little sieve. Olms filter out large food particles while feasting on insect larvae, small crabs, snails, and other tiny prey, which they will swallow whole. Now, what's truly fascinating is their capacity to consume large quantities of food in one go and store these nutrients in their livers. This allows the olm to sustain themselves during times of scarcity. When food becomes scarce, they can exhibit an incredible resilience by reducing their metabolic rate and even resorting to reabsorbing their own tissue to conserve energy. In fact, experiments have demonstrated that olms can go for an astounding 10 years without a meal. By storing nutrients and slowing down their metabolism during these times, ensure they won't starve even when food sources are scarce to come by in this underground habitat. Not eating for 10 years kind of sounds like a horrible thing, but being secluded away underground does have its privileges, one of which being that they really don't have any regular predators except themselves. But that's normally a problem for the smaller larvae of the olm. Now, you may be wondering how these little larvae come to be. Well, it goes something a little like this. Olms, despite their gratuitous or group oriented in general, exhibit an interesting behavior, particularly during breeding season. While adult olms often gather in cracks and beneath rocks together, sexually active males take on a more solitary demeanor as they establish territories, fiercely defending them from other males. When a male finds his chosen territory, he secretes a pheromone to attract potential mates, signaling his readiness to court. Upon encountering a female, the male initiates a courtship ritual by fanning his tail towards her head. He delicately touches her cloaca with his snout, and in response, she reciprocates the gesture. Following this intimate interaction, the male then deposits what is called a spermatophore, or a package containing sperm, which then she picks up with her cloaca. After this initial encounter, the female departs to establish an egg-laying territory, where she meticulously guards and oversees the development of the eggs. Olms, interestingly enough, exhibit two distinct reproductive strategies. They can be egg laying, like I said, but they also can bear live young. The choice between these strategies seems to hinge on water temperature, with colder temperatures triggering the live bearing strategy. In the live bearing method, adult olms typically give birth to two live larvae, whereas the egg laying strategy can result in clutches of up to 70 eggs. The incubation period for the olm's eggs ranges from about 2 to 6 months, with litter sizes varying between 35 to 70 larvae. I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about that these animals can literally give birth to live young, but also still lay eggs. I mean, yeah, incredible survival strategy. And in about 14 years, those larvae will reach sexual maturity, during which that larva will become adult versions, which look fairly similar to them as a larva. Of course, just they'll be a little bit bigger and have maybe one or two back legs added on. Now, on to the conservation. The Olm was recently evaluated by the IUCN Red List in 2022, and unfortunately, they are listed as vulnerable, population decreasing. The Olm has a unique adaptation to live in cave environments, and because of that, is exceptionally vulnerable to changes in its surroundings, specifically adaptations to the specific conditions found in these caves. The Olm faces great threats from pollution and environmental degradation in its region. Water resources in the region crucial for the Olm survival are highly sensitive to pollution from various sources. Rainfall, leaches, contaminants from water disposal sites which accidentally spill introduced harmful substances into underground water systems. The impact of pollution on these waterways depends on the type and quality of the pollutants, as well as, of course, the geological location in which the water flows. The self purification mechanisms operating in underground waters differ significantly from those in the surface waters and are yet not fully understood. However, we do know that the Olm habitat faces severe threats from a range of chemical pollutants, pesticides, fertilizer, and industrial compounds pose significant risks to the Olm's populations. Additionally, heavy metals such as mercury, lead, and arsenic persist in the environment and can accumulate in harmful concentrations. These substances are slow to degrade and toxic to life, threatening the delicate balance of the Olm's underground ecosystem. Their accumulation poses a direct risk to Olm populations. And even though some people may be spreading pesticides and fertilizers from hundreds of miles away, due to watersheds and rainfall, they can flow these different chemicals that really don't degrade away very easily for miles and miles and miles until it flows into the cave and destroys the Olm's habitat, all depending on how the watersheds in that region work. And if you forget what a watershed is, basically it's how we view the land as a sink. It's where all the water is going to. So, what can we do? Reducing pollution is crucial for protecting our environment and safeguarding precious resources like the groundwater. And here are some practical steps you can take at home, work, and in your community to help minimize pollution, not just if you live in Europe, but even here or there, wherever you may live. At home, you can properly dispose of all waste, avoiding dumping chemicals down drains or on the ground, and using designated disposal methods for hazardous materials. You can test underground fuel oil tanks for leaks, consider replacing them above ground if feasible, and safely store chemicals and fuels, ensuring they are securely stored to prevent leaks or spills. Because even if you spill a little oil in your backyard, there's a good chance that will leak into underground waters one day or another. Also, minimize chemical use. Use chemicals according to directions and only when necessary. Maintain septic systems. Yes, septic systems are a big part of leaking nasty stuff underground into waterways. And make sure those septic tanks, of course, are getting inspected every 5 years to prevent leaks. And of course, regularly test on site wells, assess pollution risks, and test wells as much as needed. At work, Same thing, proper waste disposal. Ensure all waste is disposed of properly and avoid floor drains if possible. Handle hazardous materials safely. Monitor underground storage tanks. Manage storm water drains, especially in parking lots. Implement good management practices, including conduct environmental audits, develop pollution prevention plans, and devise emergency response protocols, especially if you're in an industry that does handle a lot of dangerous chemicals. Now, in town, protect important water supply areas. Advocate for land use plans and regulations that safeguard aquifers and well fields. Support legislation and programs. Back initiatives aimed at protecting underground water and the environment. Educate the community, inform residents and businesses about underground water usage and pollution prevention measures. Consider aquifers in land acquisition. Prioritizing open space acquisition that protects important aquifers can make sure that development is not being put right upon a major waterway underground. Monitor and inspect well fields, regularly assessing the maintain key well fields and recharge areas. Conduct household hazardous waste collections. This is a great program that a lot of communities have started where a lot of times people have household hazardous waste like old chemicals or things that they may have only used once and now they have a whole bottle of it and they just can't safely dispose of it because a lot of times trash won't take certain hazardous materials in trash bags. So having either places at your business or having professionals coming through every so often to help out your neighborhood is a great way to prevent those waste to accidentally getting into the groundwater. And then practice pollution prevention in town facilities, implement good management practice to minimize pollution, as well as setting up pollution barriers to ensure that if pollution does get spilled out in drainage ways or something like that, that there's filters or other ways that will prevent that chemical to get into the wild world. Because by taking protective steps to reduce pollution in our daily lives and communities, we can contribute to a healthier environment and protect valuable resources for future generations, like the resource of knowing that an amazing creature like the Olm lives on this planet. And that's the show. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Olm. As always, check out my Facebook, X, aka Twitter, TikTok, or even if you just want to email me at ericlikesanimals@gmail.com. Links are down in the footer below. And of course, once again, thank you for joining me on another wild adventure with Eric Likes Animals. This is Eric signing off, reminding you that every creature has a story, and sometimes the best stories have fur, feathers, or scales. See you all in April, because don't forget, that's when the next episode will premiere. Thank you for listening. Season 2, signing off.